Hello and welcome to another Royal Reviewer live pop-up chat. It is Sunday, the 2nd of February 2020, and I need a new fan. Look at the state of my fan, it is overflapped. Right, so today we are going to be talking, well tonight, it's tonight here in the UK, we are going to be talking about two stories. The Queen has been out at Sandringham today and for her usual Sunday church service, and she has been wearing, I know a lot of you have been waiting for it again. She did wear it, she has worn it before in the past, but the Queen has worn the Canadian Snowflake Brooch. What a lovely tribute. So we'll be looking at some photographs of that today. And also, it is the BAFTA'S night, the British Film Academy Awards. And William and Catherine, for the 4th year running, have been out in attendance at that. So we're going to be talking about that. I think before I start anything, I'm going to go to the chat room and see who is here. So just in case you're wondering, I am wearing the Queen's Brazilian aquamarine tiara. This is a really gorgeous, pretty replica of this tiara, and I thought I would team it, obviously with this kind of aqua blue coloured top, and of course I am wearing the flower basket brooch, which is a replica of the Queen's too. So there we have it. What do you think of the outfit tonight? Right, I can see the chat room. Let's just see. I may even put the kimono on later. I don't know. Cool Hosier says, that colour looks brilliant on you. Why, thank you. Katie says, I've never seen that tiara. Oh, yes, I've had it a while. Yeah, the Queen's Brazilian aquamarine tiara. Isn't it gorgeous? I absolutely love this tiara. Teresa says, that is the most gorgeous crab tiara I've ever seen. I've actually got two. Hang on, wait a second. I've actually got two of them. This one doesn't, I haven't put the, why can't I think? Elastic. I haven't put the elastic at the back. But that's the back of it, and that's the front. So I've actually got two. Should I put it here so you can all see it? If it'll balance. There we go, look, I'll pop it there. There we go, look, I'll pop it there so you can all take a good look. Margaret says, Margaret, well, we're going to be talking about the Queen's brooch in a moment, so I will save your comment and possibly mention that a little bit later. Right, first of all, I'm going to share a link to a big collection of photographs from tonight's BAFTA'S. So we're going to be looking at that. So as always, I will post the link in the description box if you're watching on catch up. But if you want to follow along now with what I'm looking at and talking about, then please feel free. So, obviously there's going to be a lot of conversation about the Duchess recycling her outfit, but this was completely 100% intentional, because the theme, everybody was asked to rewear something, or it could have been something vintage, or it has to have been something that could be sustainable fashion, recycled, reworn, or vintage, that kind of thing. So, what did Catherine opt for? She actually opted for a gown which she wore on the Malaysian tour in 2011, I do believe. And we'll be looking at the photographs of that in a moment. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous gown, and she does, of course, look stunning in it. Prince William wore a black man's dinner suit, and yeah, I mean, there's nothing terribly exciting going on with a black man's dinner suit, but it is smart. It is very, very smart, which of course you will see in a moment. This is also the 4th year in a row that the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge have attended, and this year also marks the 10th anniversary for Prince William as the president of the arts charity. And of course, they walked the red carpet in. Did I say that the dress was designed by Sarah Burton for McQueen? Well, if I didn't, there we go, it is. And it is, of course, the 73rd Annual British Film Academy Awards at the Royal Albert Hall. So let's take a look at the first photograph. So if you're scrolling down, you'll get to the first one. Prince William in, as I said, a black dinner suit with a black bow tie. And black, are they slightly velvet? I can't make out if they're velvet shoes or not. But Catherine does look really, really stunning. She has her hair swept back into an elegant bun. I do believe it is called a chignon. And that's not even in the article. I did actually know that. The jewellery, I don't think we've seen before, but it is by Van Cleef and Arpels, I do believe. Yeah, Arpels. Van Cleef and Arpels, and is actually worth a lot of money. So we're not going to talk about how much money it's worth, but the jewellery collection is worth quite a few thousand, let's put it that way. So probably, you know, not in everyone's affordable price range, but I imagine that there are similar jewellery out there if you wanted to recreate that look. Of course, she's wearing the Princess Diana engagement ring, and she's carrying a gold clutch bag. Smiley, happy. I mean, I think this is an event. What's one of those fun events of the year that I think royals do generally love attending. Now, I've spoken about this in the past, but in years gone by, on this sort of occasion, if Diana would have gone, for example, in the Queen Mother's Day, in Queen Elizabeth's Day, when she attended these kinds of things, it would have been a tiara occasion. You know, you wouldn't have looked out of place at this sort of event, this sort of glittering event, star-studded event, in a tiara. Nowadays, we don't see it. Nowadays, we only see tiaras mainly for state occasions. I don't think we've ever seen, for example, the Duchess of Cambridge in a tiara on an overseas tour. I think in the past we have seen Camilla wear one in that sort of occasion, but the occasions when tiaras are worn seem to be getting less and less and less. And I don't know, I want to see the tiara occasions come back. A little bit of sparkle on a dark winter's evening, I think would brighten and lift everyone's spirits. So, if you're still looking at the first picture, the one that I am, or is it the second? No, the second picture, I want you to give me some ideas. Which tiara would you have paired with this outfit? And you can say any. Post in the comments, you can post any from the Queen's collection that Catherine could have borrowed. You could have said the Cambridge Lover's Knot, or of course this one, because of course Catherine has worn this one a few times as well, the Lotus or Papyrus tiara. So perhaps this one. I mean, I actually think this would have looked really gorgeous with that dress tonight. I think that gown would have looked phenomenal with this tiara. But let me know if you have any ideas of from any royal tiaras, what you think would have gone well with this outfit. Do let me know. It might be a little bit of fun just to kind of think about that. So yeah, I was right. Oh yes, it was a custom gown for the 2012 state dinner in Malaysia, designed by Sarah Burton. I was only 1 year out, and I did that from memory. So there we go. I wasn't terribly far out. So it was actually 2012 state dinner in Malaysia, and it's actually the hibiscus flower embroidery, and it is really, really gorgeous. And of course, she recycled her Jimmy Choo shoes as well, and you can just see them gold poking out as well. And if you did want any more information on the necklace she's wearing, as I said, it's Van Cleef & Arpels, and it's actually known as the Magic Alhambra necklace. So if you've got deep pockets and you want to look it up and you want to replicate that look, then obviously do go and tap that in, and I'm sure you will be able to find it. Now, Prince William, as I said, is celebrating his 10th anniversary as the BAFTA president, and he is going to present the Fellowship Award, which is the highest accolade, And he's going to do that to Star Wars producer Kathleen Kennedy. And I don't believe that's actually happened yet. It may do because the BAFTA'S is still ongoing. So we are just looking at photographs from the actual arrival. If you've just joined, I will post that link again so that you know what I'm following. I'm on round about the third picture. So let's go down. There is also a little video clip of the arrivals. So if you want to watch that as well, do follow that. There's a little bit of a photo of them arriving inside the Royal Albert Hall, taking their seats. Prince William looking very smiley. Everybody dressed in their finery. And we'll get down to some of the other looks as well. I'll give my little fashion review. The Duchess of Cambridge and the Duke of Cambridge sit down first, and then everyone else sits down once they are seated. Yeah, it is believed that the dress may have been slightly amended for the BAFTA event, with the original having sheer cap sleeves, which have been replaced with a more structured shoulder. So there you have it. Obviously, because of weather. In Malaysia, the climate would have been hotter. Obviously, it's the beginning of February here in the UK. Cold. All I've got to say is literally cold. So, yes, I can understand why it may have been altered. Still reworn, still recycled, but slightly altered. But nevertheless, looking gorgeous and glamorous. Let's scroll down. So, some similar pictures. Some with William and Catherine, some with just Catherine on her own. Walking the red carpet again, some close-ups, some slightly further away. But I'm going to... the back of the dress. Now, the back of the dress also, it does look like a zip up the back. Looks gorgeous from all angles. There is... am I seeing a slight train cut in the gown? I don't think I noticed before, but when she's walking, it's giving the effect of a little bit of a slight train to the back of the dress. Could be wrong. I'm no fashion expert, but it looks that way, or at least it's giving that impression when there is movement. Right, I'm going to go and take a look at some of the comments and see what people are saying, because I bet we've had some good tiara suggestions. So let's have a look. Betsy says Duchess Catherine looks stunning in that gorgeous dress. Elizabeth Virginia says her gown is Alexander McQueen. Yes, designed by Sarah Burton for Alexander McQueen. John Williams is correcting me on the pronunciation. It's not Arpel, it's Urpel. Arpels. Leslie says, I love that you call William's suit a black dinner suit. We call it black tie. Let me help. It's Van Cleef & Arpels. There we go. Arpels. JC Sterling says, I agree. Love the tiaras and the other royal jewellery. Fran Alvaro says, what's the sense of having them if you aren't going to wear them? Tiaras? Well, yeah, I agree. If you're speaking about tiaras, I would entirely agree. Sharona says, do you think now we have heard about Beatrice's reception, do you think we'll get a date soon? I'm hoping so. I'm hoping we'll get a few more details, at least a date. But yes, I am hoping. I'm living in hope. Leslie says, yes, the Lotus tiara because it has an exotic feel like a dress. Well, of course it was originally designed for the Malaysian, to be worn on the Malaysian tour. Betsy says, yes, the Lotus or the Cambridge Lovers Knot tiara. Either one would look amazing. Jason Ford says, the Queen in light blue with the beautiful... Oh, we're going to be talking about that later. Anthony says, I would like to see her wearing the Queen's fringe. That would have looked nice too, the fringe tiara. I think anything kind of spiky would look quite nice with that gown today. I did do a tiara haul in a vlog a while ago. Maybe I need to do an updated one for this channel. Gree5 says, the girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara would look fab. Yep, anything kind of spiky. Susan says, tiaras weigh a lot, heavy on the head. Indeed, but they look gorgeous. Sometimes you have to suffer for fashion. Ms. Fiji says there are so many unseen tiaras in the vaults, they need to pull more of them out. There are probably some that we don't even know about. I mean, literally, there are probably some that we haven't seen for a very, very long time. Or, like I say, even some perhaps that haven't even seen the light of day for a very, very long time. One that I would love to see out and about is the tech tiara. I think that's a really interesting one, and I would love to see that one out and about as well. Yes, I think I might do another tiara video. Lady Buckingham says, love the way they make over their clothes. It's good. Oh, and yes, it's very, very good. I like the way that you can kind of update things to suit different climates, or change things, add panels in, take panels out. It's a really good way of re-wearing something. It's really, really good. Okay, apparently not Arpels. Arpels. Maybe if I do it American. Arpels. Arpels. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not pronouncing it right. And I'm not sure I entirely care. Elderly Poodle says, I suffer in 5-inch heels, but find it worthwhile. Sometimes you have to. You have to suffer for the fashion. Teresa says, I think they used to wear the tiaras more often. I've heard they are very heavy. Someone mentioned that Meghan should buy her own. There's no way she could afford those. They are made from real jewels. I think she could afford them. They are worth millions already, and they are probably set to make even more money. So I am sure that Harry and Meghan, if they wished to buy their own tiara, could buy one. But they're probably, I mean, real tiaras aren't really worn, outside of aristocracy, royals. I know in the past we have had big Hollywood celebs who have worn them for certain events, but not many actually buy them for their own, to kind of reuse and reuse and reuse. We have seen examples in the past, some of the in the kind of glittering, glamorous Hollywood days. I would love to see that come back. I mean, Elizabeth Taylor, for example, I'm using Elizabeth Taylor. She amassed a fabulous, fabulous jewellery collection that was just stunning and amazing. If Harry and Meghan wanted to do that, I am sure that they would be able to. I mean, I'm even probably, going out on a limb here, but I would probably say that even if Meghan wanted to borrow something from the Queen, I'm sure the Queen may even oblige. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, they are still family. They are still family. Super D says, is the Queen's diamond diadem considered a tiara or a type of crown? Well, it was designed for a coronation. I mean, I would probably say it's more of a circlet. It's a diadem. It's a diadem. Diadem slash kind of circlet. It's not a crown. It's not a tiara. I would say it's more of a diadem. It's the George IV State Diadem. That's what it's officially known as. It was designed for a coronation, for a male, for George IV, and it was originally supposed to be worn with a cap inside it. So it was supposed to go on top of a cap with a big feather. And of course, he did wear it for his coronation, but it was considered probably too feminine by previous kings since, and then it kind of became more of a queen consort piece that the queen consorts wore. And then of course, obviously, when we've had a female monarch, it has been worn as a diadem, mainly to and from the Houses of Parliament when there is a state opening of Parliament going on, but has been worn other occasions as well, and for portraits, and it is featured a lot on the Queen's depiction on currency. Oh, I have a donation, 10 Canadian US dollars. Thank you so much, from S Reddit. Thank you so much. Here is a big golden broken fan flap and a kiss from me. Margaret says, I would absolutely love to see them recycle the Queen's dresses and make skirts out of them to donate to underprivileged women who are going back in the workforce. What do you think? Well, that is a great idea, and of course that is kind of fitting with Meghan's idea of smart works. It kind of plays into that kind of sphere, if you like. But I will say the Queen's wardrobe is packed away, and it's recorded, it's logged, it's put away. I'm currently reading a book by Angela Kelly, who is the lady who is the Queen's curator, personal assistant, fashion designer. Angela Kelly is just everything, and she states in her book that everything is recorded, documented, packed away safely, recorded as well, so that when the Queen does rewear something, it's not worn too often or in the same place, for example, or even colour, that she's not wearing too much of the same colour too soon. So the Queen's clothes are logged, packed away for possible reuse. Also, they become part of the royal collection, which is a very historical. They become artifacts, is what I'm trying to say. They basically become artifacts, which will eventually, when the Queen is no longer with us, which will be a very, very sad day, but eventually they will be able to go on display, be displayed, be part of exhibitions. So that is why they become part of the royal collection on behalf of the nation, but also to be enjoyed in exhibitions, for example, by people all over the world. Just imagine in the future, maybe 40 years from now, a collection of the Queen's fashion on show at a royal palace, or even on tour. So it becomes a very important, because the Queen's fashion is very, very important in the role that the Queen plays. It's practical. It also conveys messages, which we'll be looking at in a moment with regards to the Snowflake Brooch. It also allows her to be seen, to be visible. The Queen is always, she has her own style and she has her own trend, but she's always kind of on trend. Angela Kelly in her book talks a lot about there being a period where the Queen kind of needed to be updated in fashion, and Angela Kelly has kind of kept her abreast of fashion, on fashion trends, but still with her own individual style, which is the Queen. It's unmistakably the Queen. She does have her own style and her own fashion. I have a donation from Morning Mayan, $5. Thank you so much, and of course I will give you a golden fan flap, mwah, and a big kiss from me. Let's have a look. GM says, "Oh my God, I think you're rambling on about each question today. You have so many good questions you're missing." I'm sorry for rambling on, but I thought the questions that I've answered have been really, really good and pertinent ones. Right, I'm going back to the BAFTA'S. Now, I'm seeing a lot of other people in a lot of pink. So I'm sensing that pink is a colour, a theme this year. So yes, a lot of recycled or no, oh my goodness, is that Scarlett Johansson? I think that's Scarlett Johansson, and she is wearing a vintage 1920s feather gown. Oh my goodness, that is stunning. I have to say, that could be my favourite of the night. Oh wow, that is amazing. I love it. Wow. Okay, I really do like that. I mean, that is a vintage 1920s. That would look amazing on a mannequin in anyone's home, just on display. It looks absolutely gorgeous. Also, Renee Zellweger, ma'am, you are looking rather snazzy in your little pink number as well. Looking slightly Marilyn Monroe-esque in that gown. You could imagine Marilyn in something like that, looking rather gorgeous. Now, Florence with that dress. I'm seeing a pair of curtains. It's like a pair of curtains, literally like a pink kind of with the puffball shoulders, and it kind of drowns her. It drowns her figure. She has an amazing figure. That dress just swamps. Olivia Colman, of course, who plays the Queen in series 3 of The Crown. I like it. Now, I like the sheer sleeves. I'm sensing that is also a trend. I've seen that quite a lot last year in 2019. But yeah, sheer sleeves have been on trend. I'm liking the embroidery, looking rather good. Who's this? Who are we? Who is that? Is that Amelia Clark? Yes. Is that Amelia Clark? Anyway, it's a kind of a golden gown, looking golden sparkly, looking gorgeous. But yeah, lots of really, really good fashions going on there. Let me know who was your favourite outfit of the night. I'm loving the 1920s pink gown. Shrona says, why does Catherine only wear 2 tiaras? Well, as far as we know, she has been loaned in the past to the Cambridge Lovers Knot and the Lotus Flower. We haven't seen any others. I mean, typically the royals are only given a couple of tiaras. For example, Sophie Wessex has recently had hers redesigned, her wedding tiara, and the Duchess of York only had one that was specially made for her. So it's pretty common. But of course, I'm sure if Catherine wished to borrow something else, maybe that would be okay. Right, I am going to move on to the next story. So, let me... Oh, do you know what? I'm not even going to timestamp today because I forgot my pen. So, we are going to move on straight away. Let me just make a little note. Round about 25, that's fine. So, we are going to move on to the Queen, who has been sporting, I should say, the Snowflake Brooch. So let's just pop that on there so you can follow. Again, I will pop that link into the description after this live stream has finished. So I am at the top of the page, and the Queen has, she is still, of course, at Sandringham for her festive break, but it's nearly over. It's coming to a close. So she's wearing a blue, and she was at a slightly different church today, at the St. Peter and St. Paul church, which is still local, but it's not the one that she goes to every week, the one right next to Sandringham. So sometimes she does go to this church. And she had a little mini walkabout. She looked very healthy and happy. I think she's totally recovered from her cold. Now, reading the Angela Kelly book, I know that, for example, when it comes to church outfits, these are often outfits which have been worn on engagements previously for sort of main engagements, and the Queen often rewears them for private use when she's attending church. So this one will have been worn to an engagement. In fact, I think I recognise it. I think I do recognise it, but I can't recall which year or which event it was. But I never forget an outfit, and I definitely remember this one, I think, being worn previously. It looks like an Angela Kelly design. Quite often the designs are kind of split between Angela Kelly and Stuart Parvin. This one, to me, without reading it, looks like an Angela Kelly design to me. Of course, carrying her Lorna handbag, and I think they are navy. Are they navy gloves? It could be black, could be navy. Navy blue dark navy blue does kind of go with the coat. There is a nice patterned floral dress underneath, it looks like. And she, as I said, she did a little bit of a walkabout, and she was collecting flowers in person from the crowds who have been there to support the Queen. And she's taking them, passing them on to her lady-in-waiting. And you may have noticed she is wearing the Canadian Snowflake Brooch. We've only seen it, did we see it on, I think she wore it to, did she wear it when she, anyway, I've forgotten when it was, but we did see it. I think it was on a state visit. It could have been President Trump, or it could have been the Obamas. I'm thinking it was one of those, and we did see it in and around those occasions. And yeah, it is the Snowflake Brooch, which was designed and given to the Queen, was it about 3 years ago? And I remember at the time people speculating, when's she going to wear it? When's she going to wear it? Eventually she did. But I'm really, really happy to see it out and about today on an informal occasion for the Queen, like church, which is really, really nice to know. That brooch is becoming part of the royal jewellery usage. It's now doing the rounds, and hopefully it will do the rounds a lot more. Of course, the Queen does have another Canadian brooch, the Canadian maple leaf brooch, but this is a lovely alternative. The Snowflake Brooch has a hint of blue in it as well. I'm not quite sure you can make it out from the photographs, but it does have blue in it. I did actually make a video on the Queen Snowflake Brooch, so if you type in Royal Reviewer Queen Snowflake Brooch, I'm sure that video will come up. Lots of nice floral details on the hat, of course, complementing the pattern dress underneath. I think it could also be floral and paisley underneath, I'm seeing. Again, going back to a comment that I saw earlier. I can't remember who it was, but someone said, do you think the Queen is sending a message of support to Harry and Meghan because she's wearing the Canadian Snowflake Brooch? It could be. I mean, the Queen does often send messages through her clothing and jewellery choices. It could also just be that the Canadian Snowflake Brooch is snowflake, winter, it has a hint of blue, she's wearing a blue dress. It could just be to complement the colours. I mean, one of the things is, reading Angela Kelly's book, Angela Kelly often selects the best pieces of jewellery that go with an outfit, and she presents lots of examples to the Queen. In Queen Mary's, I think it's Queen Mary's jewellery trays, and they're embroidered jewellery trays, and the Queen then selects from those choices that Angela made the brooches and jewellery that she wants to wear. So unless the Queen has specifically requested that brooch for a reason that she has in mind, I'm thinking what's more likely is that Angela Kelly will have selected a selection of brooches, including the snowflake, that complements that outfit. So that's what I'm thinking, and obviously the Queen has selected that from that selection. So that's what I'm thinking with regards to any messages being sent out. But those of you, some people may think that the Queen is sending a message because, of course, Harry and Meghan are in Canada, and there is lots going on with regards to that. So who knows? It could have been at the request of the Queen. It could have just been an Angela Kelly fashion choice. Do let me know what you think. And she's also teaming the outfit with her pearl jewellery. I do love some pearls. Yeah, a few days ago she was also seen out driving her car as well, her Range Rover. So the Queen being very, very active. Laura Terry says, I love the Duchess of Cambridge. Beautiful looking dress that she wore to the BAFTA'S. Elderly Pilder says, I think when people call her Kate, it's a term of endearment, just something less formal than a title. I mean, yeah. People have called her Kate ever since I can remember. And there was one time I refused to use it because I thought, no, it's Catherine. Then I kind of heard that even William calls her Kate, and then I just thought, look, I can't be bothered to keep pushing Catherine when no one's calling her Catherine, everyone's calling her Kate. Prince William's calling her Kate, so let's just go with Kate. I'm a bit of a stickler for liking to call people by their actual names and not abbreviating names or changing them. So to me personally, I would prefer to use Catherine. But whenever people type something in YouTube, it's always Kate. I mean, let me know what. Okay, let me ask you a question, and I want answers. I want answers in the description, in the comments or whatever, or in the live chat if you're live. When you're searching for something to do with Catherine, do you type in Kate or do you type in Catherine? If you're going to use a name, what do you type to search in, Kate or Catherine? Let me know. Christine says, I prefer Catherine. Louise says, Kate's fine. Everyone's going to have their own opinions on that one. But I will wait for those answers to come in whilst I go back to those photographs of the Queen. Ooh, now look, I do believe the gloves are navy. I'm looking very, very closely. I'm thinking navy. You can see the Queen's equerry in the background on the steps. The Queen was also flanked quite heavily by security. And if you're looking at the Queen's shoes and you're wondering, they are classic Anello and David loafers. spelt Anello for Anello, and David, Davide, loafers. And they look incredibly comfy. They have a little bit of a hint of a heel. In fact, they do have a heel. I mean, I'm trying to guess, is that an inch and a half heel? But they are amazing. There are also some cheaper alternatives as well. But yes, the Queen walking into church, the Snowflake Brooch looking absolutely gorgeous. Luckily, the rain did stay away. I didn't see any other members of the royal family accompanying the Queen today. Most members of the family have already gone back to work. Yeah, and that's kind of it for those stories today. So I am going to take a look at what people are saying when I asked that question. Lots of people saying Catherine. Yeah, lots of people saying Catherine. Oh, quite a few people saying Kate now. Lorne says, I wonder what she prefers. I would love to ask her. HN the King says, I use Kate, just works better. Monroe Taylor says, I always type in William and Kate, or Wills. Jamila says Catherine. Laurie says Catherine. Sharon says, Prince William calls his wife Catherine is never... I've heard him say Kate. When it was announced back that they were getting married, she was announced as Catherine. I have also heard him say Catherine, but I have also informally heard Kate. So it's very, very tricky to kind of work out exactly what she is behind closed doors in person. Anyway, I gave up a while ago now in trying to stick with Catherine. But if you ask my own personal opinion, I prefer Catherine to Kate. Sharona says, I like Catherine. What I want is her to be called Catherine or Kate Cambridge. After all, she hasn't been a... Oh, yes. Drop the Middleton and the Markle. Drop the Middleton and Markle. Duchess of St Andrews says, thank you for coming on today. JC Sterling says, when they brought out Prince George after the delivery, he called her Poppet. Okay, shall I just call her Duchess Poppet from now on? Yeah, I'm going to go with Duchess Poppet from now on. Laura says, when they are out in public, I think that they use their Duke and Duchess, William and Catherine. Well, I mean, their official title is their Royal Highnesses, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge. Midnight Hazel says, when I've searched online for the Duchess of Cambridge, I use Catherine. Interesting. Liz Regina says she spells it with a C. Whenever she's had the initials and things, it's been a C. Hayden the King says, as long as you don't say Lizzie and Charlie. I promise not to. Duchess of St Andrews says, agreed, drop the maiden names. Right, okay, it's getting late here in the UK and I need a cup of finest English British tea. I don't know about you lot, but I'm going to go now. Thank you so much for staying. If you've made it this far into the video, thank you so much. Hopefully you've enjoyed some nice light-hearted stories today. Things have been getting a little bit heavy as of late, and I'm hoping that you enjoyed these really nice stories. As I said, I am always now going to try and end any of these videos on a positive, good news story. I think Harry and Meghan are entirely right to focus on lots of really good and positive news. Sometimes we have to wade through all the horrible stuff to try and get at the truth, but I always think it's nice to end at least on positive news stories. Hopefully you've enjoyed a little bit of fashion talk as well, and lots of talk about the Queen, which always brings a smile to my face. So if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to share on social media, and also do hit the bell so that you know whenever I upload a new video. So from me in Shropshire, until next time, mwah to you all, and goodbye.